President Trump keeps talking about building a
impenetrable, physical, tall, powerful, beautiful southern border wall.
The wall is going to stop drugs.
So this idea of building a wall to stop these drugs is, number one, pointless, but number two,
Doesn't work.
there are so many countermeasures to a border wall. Ramps. One of the first things they did was when we built the original fence is that the traffickers would literally pull a flatbed truck up to the fence and have a ramp that would drive over the wall and down the other side. Catapults, ancient Roman technology. They're able to hurl huge bags of drugs over that wall, and they've even adapted them to more sophisticated ways of launching drugs over the wall through what are essentially modified t-shirt cannons. So you see these things in sports stadiums when they launch t-shirts into the audience. They have much bigger caliber ones mounted on the back of pickup trucks that can blast bales of drugs up to 100 pounds over that wall using compressed air. Airplanes and small aircraft, we got better detecting those. So they switched to ultralights. These are, little propeller planes that have a little drop cage underneath, and they can pull the lever and release several hundred pounds of drugs over the wall. They're moving towards drone technology. So there's no pilot to capture and snitch. Again, they fly under the radar, but over the wall. Tunnels. We've discovered more than 100 of these tunnels so far, and there are hundreds more. These tunnels are incredibly sophisticated. Many of them have their own electrical systems, their own rail systems, ventilation.
Some tunnels sometimes have even phone systems, telephones.
There's also the sea route. In the old days, they used to use fishing boats and hide drugs in the ice with shrimp and fish and that sort of thing. And then they evolved and they moved towards speedboats. We got faster speedboats now. We can capture them. We can intercept them. So they moved to semi-submersibles starting in the 90s. These are semi-submarines that stay 90% underwater. They're mostly made of fiberglass, and they can hold up to 6 to 12 tons of drugs per run. They switched now to fully submersible submarines that can dive as deep as 50 feet below water. They've also adapted and created narco torpedoes, narco sleds that are towed behind a ship with a long cable, and if they're stopped and inspected, they can release that cable. The sled, the torpedo, is then released into the wild where it has a homing beacon, and it's told to surface every few hours, transmit an encrypted signal to the follow-on ship down several miles away, and then they pick up those drugs. So there are lots of ways to get around a wall if that's what Donald Trump thinks is going to stop these drugs. There's an old clip from Bart Simpson where he runs for class president, and he begins his campaign by attacking his opponent, and he says
there aren't any easy answers. I say he's not looking hard enough.
That's kind of the problem we have here in Washington. Easy answers sell, but easy answers are often the wrong answers.